Greetings, fashionistas and style enthusiasts. Welcome to the House of Vanity, where we converse and explore all things fashion. Today, we are going to talk about sports. The year is 2024, and we have the Olympic Games in Paris, city of love, and of course the heart of luxury fashion. This is definitely the right time for everyone in fashion to pay attention to the arenas. The flirtation between fashion and sports is old. There are no new relationships here. It's literally secular. Legend has it that it was Coco Chanel herself who introduced luxury fashion to sports when she brought tweed to her catwalks. At the time, no one had ever seen tweed except on afternoons of hunting and horseback riding by British aristocrats. And like every experience in Coco's world, the fabric went on to the catwalks. Her boyfriend, Duke Winchester, was a true lover of sports riding in horseback and inspired the designer. Voila! After that, the fabric never went out of fashion. Whether in haute couture sets or dresses in fast fashion stores, it is a part of fashion's DNA. In the same decade in America, the sportswear movement emerged. Comfortable fabrics, sweatshirts, pants, and blouses. True American works of art. The real ready-to-wear, authentic and wearable. It was all started in 1920, but it took a few years to grow. So everything was fine until Converse started sponsoring Chuck Taylor in 1921. The player ended up giving the name to the all-star Converse model that was used for decades on sports courts. In 1933, tennis player René Lacoste, known as Le Crocodile, developed the first polo shirt. A different version of the traditional ones used by players, with shortened sleeves that allowed greater movement during the games. It didn't take long for this to be adopted by several athletes and other sports. In addition to polo golf, and polo shirts are still a fashion item today. In addition, Emilio Pucci in skiing and Octavio Missoni in the slopes. Italian brands have used their sporting experience to shape the aesthetics and materials of their products. Jumping forward to 1980s, lycra looks and pairs of sneakers became common wardrobe staples. Everyone already had their comfortable sports set after the boom in aerobics and bodybuilding. And after the influence of street culture, sportswear had already taken over everything. Skipping a few years, it's 1984 when Dove's Cry by Prince is playing on all radio stations. Nobody predicted what was coming. At that time, Converse dominated the basketball courts, and its rival Nike was seeking its space in the sport. They needed someone to lift the brand. But who would it be? Yes, basketball legend Michael Jordan. A year later, the Air Jordans was launched in Chicago Bulls colors, very different from anything else in the stores. The success was immediate. 4 million pairs were sold. And that same year, NBA Commissioner David Stern made his big marketing move. Everything Nike needed to keep sales high. He banned the Nike Air Jordans for violating league color rules. All players on the court had to wear white sneakers, otherwise they'd be fined $5,000. And who would want to pay $5,000? So, after the first Jordan, the brand released another 33 models that became collector's items. In the 1980s, it dominated the courts and streets. It was the uniform of Chicago Bulls fans. But it didn't stop there. A few years later, in 2019, he returned. In some different versions, it has become a favorite among fashion girls, celebrities, and athletes. If you count the memorable collections with Dior in 2020, Yes, Maria Grazia Chris was responsible for one of the biggest collection in luxury with the Jordan 1 and Dior high gray model. The sneakers with the classic Dior monogram and the Nike logo quickly became sold out in stores, and it became a collector's item and can be found for $7,200 on eBay today. You may ask yourself, but what happened between 1985 and today? Well, after that big hole, nobody in fashion talked about sports. There were long years of haute couture from John Galliano through the sexy of Tom Ford at Gucci to the minimalism of Phoebe Philo. Nobody talked about sports and fashion, but it was Stella McCartney who brought it back in the mid-2000s, and it was back. In its partnership with Adidas in 2005, Stella brought back a revival. Tired of the same thing, she said that women's sportswear was monotonous, always with basic colors and the same designs. So for the collection, she developed pieces that screamed creativity. And if you ask me, totally Stella McCartney. With technological, ecological, and sustainable fabrics. After that, the sport began to appear on catwalks, Fendi and Fila, Prada and Gucci with Adidas, and lastly, Miu Miu with New Balance. Fashion brands have definitely added sporty styles to their collection. Today in luxury, almost no brand can do without a sports capsule collection. Everything must be thought of according to your customer style. A great marketing strategy. After all, why should luxury consumers become consumers of mainstream brands if luxury can create its own collections? On the other hand, fast fashion has also leaned towards sports. Some like Zara, which also offers sports collection. Following Logic, the Spanish group has even done a Starter USA collab. Yes, nobody is left out. 2024 is the year fashion finally marries sports. The Olympics in Paris is the perfect time. One of the biggest sporting events in the world and the birthplace of all luxury. We have the best of both worlds. Sponsored by the LVMH Group for 150 million euros, the Paris 2024 Olympics will not only have medals designed by LVMH jeweler Chanel, but the team uniforms will also be provided by Louis Vuitton, Dior, and Berluti additionally. Throughout the summer, LVMH fashion houses will also be holding exhibitions and events. And for the first time in history, LVMH sponsored athletes competed in the game. Leon Marchand in swimming, Melanie De Jesus dos Santos in gymnastics, and Enzo Lefort in fencing. Looking for independent branding, we know that Simon Port, Jacquemus' French brand, is #1 on the networks. If fashion brands were competing in the Olympics, Jacquemus would be the winner in every event. With its phenomenal marketing, the brand is having an incredible year. On networking, campaigns shine in the eyes of consumers. Jacquemus' free and youthful aesthetic catches everyone's attention. The new collab with Nike will also be a bonus point. With the previous ones weren't as pleasing during the Olympics, the third collection and collaboration could certainly be the one that's best-selling. The list includes training sets, tops, skirts, with the French touch, all in red, white, and blue, and silver. In addition, the USA swimming capsule with J.Crew brought swimsuits, striped shirts, and drawstring sweatshirt shorts. East Coast Energy, Kim Kardashian Skims also surprised with a breathtaking campaign, a vintage sports aesthetic. The collection includes swimwear and men's options such as pajamas, underwear, and t-shirts, all printed with the USA graphics. Returning to Europe, Gucci chose minimalism, a collection with tennis clothes, chic and traditional. Balenciaga with the Souvenir Shop collection is fully stocked with collectibles, souvenirs that combine the nostalgia of travel and luxury. Eiffel Tower keychains, and I Heart Paris tote bags and caps sold tourist score. There is no doubt the podium is the athlete's catwalk. Today, fashion brands are increasingly collaborating with athletes to unite their values. Louis Vuitton with basketball player LeBron James and tennis legend Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal. In addition to Yannick Sinner, who stars in a campaign with Gucci and appears in Wimbledon with a bag from the brand. Not counting football clubs, players are in the front row of fashion shows and fashion events, and they are increasingly involved in fashion projects and collaborations with luxury brands. We're talking about Stella McCartney, who has been designing women's shirts for the London football club FC Arsenal since 2022. Yes, its real fashion has dominated sports. Looking at 2024 Olympics, brands are preparing in advance. They sought out the right athletes to communicate their messages. In this game, all sides win. The athlete is in the middle ground between the brand and the consumer. Who doesn't want a jacket worn by their sports idol? Sales grow with each campaign. Fashion brands are waking up to the value of sports, whether it's basketball or Formula One. They want to be a part of sports sponsorships. According to PwC Sports, this is expected to grow by $109.1 billion by 2030. Sports marketing is alive. Companies want to deepen connection with existing customers and reach new audience. Sports is gold for fashion. More and more brands are lining up to be in the stadiums and arenas. They are not about to lose. The new customers could perhaps be the future of luxury sales. We know that sports consumers generates profit. They are faithful and good collectibles. Sportswear is a trend that can last for years. Look at the LVMH group sponsoring the biggest sporting event of all. If the group's revenue was $45.2 billion in the last semester, can you imagine at the end of the year, after the Olympic Games? We're talking about Loewe, YSL, and Sephora being talked about for 19 days straight, on social media or in the streets of Paris. Well, there's only one thing left to say. Let the games begin. So, what do you think? We are curious to know your point of view on. Comment below. As we bid farewell, we invite you to like and subscribe to our channel. Until next time, stay stylish, stay chic. XOXO, House of Vanity.